Is she like on the way in right now?
She's on her way, she'll be here.
Let's recruit someone else.
Yes. I would like to open this up to our audience to lead us in an invocation and pledge of allegiance, and I can't single-handedly pick anyone. If anyone would like to volunteer. Ms. Sutherland is not here yet. Oh, there she is. She's sitting directly. Representative Lucas.
Ms. Lucas, go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. This is our Cumberland County delegation leading us. Would you please stand?
Thank you and good evening to everyone. It's so wonderful to be back in the hometown this afternoon. Delighted to see the wonderful citizens and delighted to see the warm weather. We're known as the center of the universe, and it's so appropriate that we are. Please bow your heads, please. Eternal God, our Father, we thank Thee for this weather. We thank Thee for this beautiful day. We thank Thee for this town. We thank Thee for these officials who have the awesome responsibility to carry out the duties of this town. We ask You to bless the citizens, one and all. Keep us all in the center of Thy will. Do these things, kind Father, and we'll be happy to give Thy name the praises. And I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, who happens to be the center of my religious beliefs.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Representative Lucas. We will move on to agenda item 3, additions and deletions. All right, if there are no additions or deletions, we will move on to the approval of the agenda. Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Alderman Plasio.
I want to make a change, I'm sorry. Can I present a change to the agenda?
Absolutely.
There's a motion on the table. Do we need to do anything else?
No, just go ahead and amend it.
Okay.
I can read my motion.
All right. I want to make a motion, we move public comment to after the presentations and move presentation B to presentation A and A to B. Shakespeare.
Okay. So now I'll entertain a motion for this approval.
I'm sorry. I second it. Oh, you made the motion. Okay, so I move that we approve the agenda with the requested changes.
Alderman Walker?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We will move on to agenda item 5, approval of consent items, draft minutes for the May 23rd regular meeting, draft minutes for the May 31st special meeting, and a board application approval for the minimum housing appeals. Ms. Katrina Bratcher, I'm so glad to have you. So I will entertain a motion for approval. Alderman Palacios?
So moved.
Alderwoman Townsend?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, the consent items have been approved. We will move on to our presentations, and we will start with a very welcomed guest. We are so glad to have our Garrison Commander, Colonel Penn. Please take the podium.
Thank you. Should I come to that podium?
Yes, please.
We've got in front of you today kind of an informational brief on Fort Bragg. So as many of you know, Fort Bragg is the largest installation by population in the Department of Defense. And what I wanted to give for you today is just a brief update on some of the things that are happening here in 2022. We would have loved to have done this in past years. The pandemic kept us at home, unfortunately. But I know I'll be switching out in the next couple weeks here with Colonel Wilcox. We already talked about today how we're going to look to do more interaction with Spring Lake and the town because we see this as a real point of opportunity for partnership with Fort Bragg. So with that note, I'll just go on and tell you what's going on at Fort Bragg, give you an update on the current facts so you know everything, you can spread the word with me. So not only are we the largest population, but we have a good amount of training area. We have 107,000 acres of training area in Fort Bragg. It's not the largest in the Department of Defense by the population. There are other ones that have long missile ranges requirements and things like that. But it gives us enough space to do over 82 live fire ranges and about 420 maneuver areas. We also have the most important thing, the Chief of Staff of the Army and the Secretary of the Army's #1 priority are its people. So they have the Army People Strategy. And the way Fort Bragg falls into that is in our resources we provide our families. So we have 14 child and youth development centers with a remarkable caregiver population with over 10,000 children in daycare and a wait list still about 1,000 people. We're blessed with the Secretary of the Army is putting her money where her mouth is by investing in another child care development center in fiscal year 25 for over $13 million. And then also where the money's coming in from Fort Bragg on quality of life is in our housing. So we have over 129 barracks. As you know from living here, it sometimes get very hot. This week is going to be real tough on all our chillers and HVAC systems. The Army has dedicated $45 million to barracks that last year and another $35 million this year. We're getting at between 9 and 12 barracks renovations every year on Fort Bragg. So we're chipping away at some of the worst housing on Fort Bragg where the soldiers are and making them into a place where they deserve to live, where they can breathe fresh air and have an HVAC system that works for them. So a lot of our oldest barracks, you may have heard the Volar barracks, the Volunteer Army barracks built in the 70s. Those are getting renovated now to become modernized and fix some of the design flaws that caused some of those mold problems that soldiers were dealing with for decades, literally. So we're very proud of that. All of our 14 MWR gyms are open. If I were here last year, I'd be saying 3 of them were open. That is a combination of our great MWR staff, but also our senior commander, General Crow, last year decided, let's put soldiers back into the gyms, let's open them back up and give them some pride and ownership in having soldiers actually in the places where they do their recreation. So that allowed 14 gyms to open. We have over 80,000 visits to the gym every single month. This is, as you know, Fort Bragg is with a lot of elite soldiers, and they spend a lot of time taking care of themselves. In addition, we've got over $2.1 million distributed from our Army Emergency Relief Fund. So those are families coming in hard times, as you know, with inflationary pressures. What do we do with our Army Community Services is make sure we meet with those families, see where they can't make ends meet, and we give them either loans or grants so they can make it to the next level. So those are some of the ways that we're getting after quality of life. As far as we're getting toward readiness, as you know, the 82nd Airborne deployed twice in the last 10 months, once to Afghanistan, where we actually closed, where the 82nd was the last unit to leave Afghanistan last summer. That was when General Donahue was the 82nd Division Commander. Now General Donahue is the 18th Airborne Commander of the Corps, and he went over again to Europe to respond to Ukraine's needs. So as you know, when the nation needs help, they don't call 911, they call 910. What's really important for us and for this community is our support for retirees. We have over 180,000 retirees in the 5-county district that borders Fort Bragg. So that's critically important for us and how the support that we give them. means so much to us. So our access to the PX, the commissary, the Womack Army Medical, we have relationships with the VA hospital right down the street to make sure that we still we maintain a welcome place for retirees to get everything they need at Fort Bragg, because we know how important that is for the surrounding area. We have, there's only one installation in the country that has a higher per capita veteran and retiree population than Fort Bragg. That's in Clarksville, Tennessee, the home of Fort Campbell. They have a little tighter neighborhood there. That's how they're able to get that per capita number up. But we know, even though they may have us, we may be number 2 in the per capita rates, we know this is the most supportive military community in the world. Fort Bragg gives back between the military pay, civilian pay, contractors, leasing agreements. It says we give $22.2 million daily to the local surrounding area. It equates to about $8.2 billion annually. So the next slide, we have, this is what's important to know is the Army is realizing that the conclusion of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, we are entering a new phase of geopolitics. And if we enter conflict with a large-scale combat operations with a near-peer adversary, they're going to strike us where we are most vulnerable. And in many ways, that's at our installations. So the Army is investing in strengthening our installations and recognizing the threats and the need to make sure that we are protected from that. So that's when you see it's sometimes inconvenient to get on posts, because we make people get passes and background checks and the physical security, we take it very seriously. That's why. We accept that level of inconvenience on our community members and our family members because it's worth it. On the next slide, these are the major commands at Fort Bragg. Probably the last time you've gotten an update from the Fort Bragg Garrison Commander. It hasn't changed significantly. The newest unit to Fort Bragg is the SFAC, the Security Force Assistant Command. They're the ones, they're actually on the ground in Europe training Ukrainians this time last year. It gave them some of the skills they're putting into place now in warfare. So it's a very good, a very impactful command there in Europe, Africa, in the Pacific region, and in South America, training our allies to be the best they can be. We also have, as you know, USASOC, which is an Army Service Component Command, as well as a command here on Fort Bragg. Our highest ranking general is General Garrett, who's the FORCECOM commander, but the senior commander of Fort Bragg, responsible for everything that does happen and doesn't happen, and my boss, is General Donahue, the 18th Airborne Corps commander. General Bragg is the current USASOC commander. He took command last summer. And we also have the U.S. Army Reserve Command, as well as, of course, the 82nd Airborne Division, and their new commander is General Chris Leneve. We have 39 different general officers on Fort Bragg, the largest concentration of general officers outside of the National Capital Region. And the next slide, here's some things we're proud about this year. At the end of last year's fiscal year, we completed a major repaving of Pope Army Airfield. Now, usually every 10 years or so, they pave it with asphalt. It gets another 10 or 12 years. When they paved it with this cement last year, that bought another 70 years for Pope Army Airfield. So it's going to be there for a long time, responding to the world's contingencies there. And that was significant because it wasn't completed under budget. They met it, which is exactly what they said we would give them. But they did complete it ahead of schedule. So it was a real good a work of accomplishment by the Savannah Corps of Engineers that oversaw that. We're real proud also to open up Smith Lake. You can see up in the upper right-hand corner there. That was closed for years after Hurricane Matthew washed out the dam, went down and became mudflap. But the Savannah Corps of Engineers funded a new dam there, a state-of-the-art dam that allowed the water to rise. And then everybody, as long as you have one person in your group that's a DoD ID card holder, it could be a retiree, could be somebody who's on active duty, you can get it, they can bring in up to 4 friends. And everybody from the community can go to Smith Lake. They've got a water obstacle course, they've got kayaks, paddle boards, a beach area, and they've got also, should be in operation later this month, a ski rig somewhere. It replicates like you're on you're water skiing, but it's with pulleys that are up in the sky. So that's really exciting for us, and Smith Lake is just a great place to do some recreation anyway. And it's open, there's no gate to Smith Lake, you can go there, everybody can. The other thing, a new thing on Fort Bragg is the Liberty Trail. So last January, we commissioned Liberty Park, which was Old Bragg Boulevard. It was fenced in when we built 295, and it was overgrown and useless, basically, for the post. It was an eyesore. So we put some money into it and made it a park, a 3.2-mile linear park. And what that has become is the gem of a necklace, you could say, of a trail network on Fort Bragg. 14.1 miles of trail designated on Fort Bragg, about 10 feet wide, where families can bring strollers through, soldiers can do ruck marches and races, and that's commissioned for design this year, and it'll be built by next year Fort Bragg. We're looking at a due date of January 1, 2024, to have 14.1 miles of family-friendly, pedestrian-friendly, and a safe from traffic trail around Fort Bragg. And lastly, I already talked about the barrack renovations. That's going great. About the floating solar. On Friday, we were able to cut the ribbon on McCall Airfield's floating solar array. It's the largest solar array in the Southeast. The first solar field that's been done in the Department of Defense. This doesn't provide too much power for the base. It's kind of a pilot program. What it does do is provide resiliency. So if McCall's energy goes down, either from natural causes or in a contested environment, this solar field has batteries that can immediately restore power and make sure you can keep doing operations in the event of that. So it's not powering all of Fort Bragg, it's not that ambitious, but it does provide a critical piece so we don't have that vulnerability anymore. Let's see on the next slide. That's the last one. So I wanted to give you just a quick update. I hope that was informative for everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for putting me in the beginning, because otherwise my wife would kill me.
Colonel Pitts, before you go, if you could just talk briefly about the name change for Fort Bragg.
Good question, Ms. Mayor. The name change for Fort Bragg. This has been a long time coming. The 2020 National Defense Authorization Act demands that 9 installations across the country change their name because they were based on Confederate generals. And it took them this long to realize that that's not okay. And that we don't, it's in the best interest this is beyond dispute because this was passed, it was vetoed by then President Trump, and then overruled by Congress. So it is completely in stone that this is happening. That's the first thing. What we did last year is we formed a senior diverse panel of leaders in the community, chaired by General Retired Dan McNeil, partnered with his partner in crime, Sergeant Major England, and we brought in the Cumberland, a member of the Cumberland County Commissioners, the Fayetteville Office of the Mayor's Office, the Lumbee Tribe, the CEO Mike Nagowski from Cape Fear Regional Medical, and the pastoral community. A Gold Star family, a National Gold Star mother, a leader in the field, and then an expert on diversity relations and Hispanic community, Dr. Colon, from the academic community. I told them, hey, you've got your first meeting, I want you to come up with 10 names. Your second meeting, I want you to come up with 3 names. And that'll be success. That's what we'll get to the naming commission. We'll be all set. General McNeil said, okay, Colonel, we'll have 1 meeting and we'll finish it right then. Okay, well, I guess you're the boss. He showed up to the meeting, and they deliberated on all the names that it could be. There are so many talented people who have been on Fort Bragg. There are 39 Medal of Honor recipients, countless trailblazing 4-star generals who came to Fort Bragg, and amazing legendary stories. What they found was, as soon as you bring up one name, if you bring up General Roscoe Robinson, one of the first African-American 4-star generals, you choose him, it begs the question, why not Colin Powell? If you bring up Master Sergeant Benavides, if you bring up his name, why not Sergeant Rascone, also a Medal of Honor winner, heroic representative? If you bring up General Gavin, an amazing hero in the 82nd history, General Gavin, then you alienate the USASOC community. If you pick General Yarborough, an amazing 4-star general from USASOC, never served a day of his life in the 82nd Airborne. So every time they threw out a name, they found out a good reason for there to be backlash against the other. So General McNeil said, what about Fort Liberty? What if we chose an actual aspiration instead of a name? And he said, Fort Liberty appears in the Special Forces motto in its Latin form with de oppresso labere, to liberate the oppressed. And it appears in the first stanza of the 82nd All-American song, We Are the Soldiers of Liberty. And then we found that as the 18th Airborne Corps made its way from Omaha Beach all the way to Bastogne, the French placed in their wake liberty markers at each point. There are over 1,000 different liberty markers that form the Liberty Trail throughout France. And then so we have the unit connections on Fort Bragg and that heritage. And we also have a local connection. On June 20th, 1775, the members of Cumberland County, before Fayetteville was Fayetteville, because Lafayette hadn't yet fought with the American Revolution, they formed on the corner of what is now Hay Street and Person Street, and 50 people signed, a year before the Declaration of Independence, the Liberty Point Resolves, right there in the middle of Fayetteville. And that connected us to the geographic point where Fort Bragg exists. So we are the only installation that has come up with an aspiration instead of a name, an individual's name. But we're very confident that is the right choice for Fort Bragg. So we're going forward with that. I wasn't part of the deliberations, but a facilitator, and it was a unique time for me to see the community evolve from being opposed to any change at all to bargaining about which name it should be to finally a real acceptance and consensus that this is the way we can go forward with. So thanks for asking me.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Now we will take just a few questions from our board, if that's okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right, Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you so much for being here. As a Army brat of a parent who served 3 terms in Vietnam, I really appreciate you being here and telling us about all that. And one of my questions, growing up here, being a dependent, they used to always have the little buses that, well, back then they would stop at the commissary right here, and we would all get on it and go all over to the movie theater and all of that. But I wondered if there was any way there could be a partnership, because we have a lot of employees and dependents, if there's any way to provide something like that here with our service connected people to get to Fort Bragg, to Womack and everything like that.
That's a brilliant idea. We need it. We need it going to Fayetteville. We need it going up here north to Spring Lake.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, back then, as children, we would walk, I'm not even say how far I was from that line, but we would walk all the way to that commissary and catch that bus. And the other thing, I had heard that there may be a chance, which is something I always hoped when I was with DYA. Well, it was called DYA when I was here. But I had heard that there may be an opportunity for you all to collaborate with the county Parks and Rec. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not aware of that.
So we would be able to participate in sports with the military children?
That's another thing we should be looking at too. Yeah. But especially on the first ones, I think transit equates to a quality of life, and people want to get out off post to see more of what the community around, and people have resources on base they need service with.
I think she was referring to the collaboration with the city of Fayetteville and Parks and Rec that you all run Fort Bragg. I bet you spoke about it at the city of Fayetteville's meeting.
Really good. Okay, I'm just not aware of it. Good, thank you.
Alderman Lackman.
Colonel Pence, I welcome you here tonight. One of the reasons that I ran was so that Spring Lake could bridge that divide that was with Fort Bragg. We share that fence with you. I was on the other side of that fence. Fort Bragg brought me to Spring Lake, but I made Spring Lake my home. And so tonight, I am overjoyed at having you here so that we're taking those steps necessary to be the gateway to Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty as we go forward. So with tomorrow being the Army's birthday, I just wanted to tell you hooah and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Is there there any more questions or comments from the board? Again, thank you so, so much. I hope this is just the first
Yes.
of many times that I know we'll only have you for a very short time, which tears me apart, but we want to make sure that we keep Fort Bragg here, always keeping us in the know on what's happening, and we keep you guys in the know. So again, thank you so, so much for being here tonight.
So thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. We will continue on with our presentation, agenda item B, another great one. Our Greater Sandhills Chamber will welcome the president, Ms. Tanisha Kerr. She looks fabulous, by the way.
Thank you so much. I am very excited to be here. When I was here before, the Greater Sandhills Chamber was about to be born. And now we are up and running and we're putting things together. We've already had our first event. And I wanted to come and present our plan of work for 2022-2023 and invite you to come alongside us and show your support. So the Greater Sandhills Chamber, we are here to involve, inform, and influence. One of the questions that I get very often is, what exactly is a chamber? First of all, we're not a government entity, which you would know, but many in the community believe that we are part of the local government, which we're not. Chambers of Commerce are separate 501c6 membership organizations. That makes us a nonprofit. We are entirely member supported, which is why being a member of the chamber is so important. And we are a local organization that promotes business interest. We lobby for business-friendly policies and promote the quality of life in any particular region. And for us, that region is the Sandhills. And our mission is to preserve, promote a strong economy, educate businesses, build relationships, and be an advocate while enhancing the quality of life for the community. Now I want to pause here because I had a meeting with a potential partner, and the person cheekily asked me, kind of mocking our name, well, do you intend to support business in the entire Sandhills region, all 10 counties of the Sandhills region? Serve all those counties? Probably not. That's a big area for us to serve effectively. Support business interest in that entire region? Absolutely. We are geared towards building partnerships. There are towns and smaller municipalities in this area that do not yet have a Chamber of Commerce, and we want to join them together to be their voice. In areas where a Chamber of Commerce already exists, we want to see how we can connect with them and build partnerships to make their chamber stronger and make our chamber stronger. Because as the Sandhills region, in its entirety, gets stronger, the quality of life in all of our communities will get better. And so we were really excited to see at our very first event representatives from the town of Hope Mills and from the Hope Mills Chamber of Commerce being present, because they understand that in order for us to move forward, we have to come together. And so we are very excited to be at the forefront of that. And so we are the Greater Sandhills Chamber because we want to improve the quality of life in this entire region. So pulling out from our mission statement, there are 3 areas that we want to focus on in our first year. We want to preserve the businesses that already exist in this area. And I'm saying this area because this is where we were born. So we're going to start at home. We want to increase access to the resources that are already available throughout Cumberland County to support businesses. I think there are about a dozen different organizations that offer business resources or training in one form or the other. And I had a conversation about a year ago with Chris Colley at City of Fayetteville. He works in economic development for the City of Fayetteville. And he said he wished that there was an organization that could act kind of like a hub that collects all of the information, and when somebody needs something, they can go there and then they can get deployed from there to where the best resources, the best agency that can do the thing that they need. That is what we want to be. We don't want to recreate the wheel. We don't have the resources to create the wheel. We don't have the budget to recreate the wheel. And there are agencies that are already funded to do this work. We just want to be the fulcrum and connect people with the resources that are already there. We want to be a platform to promote local businesses. We want everybody to know what is available here, that Spring Lake is not a dying town, Spring Lake is not a ghost town. There are a lot of amazing businesses that are thriving here, and we want to be a voice to the rest of the region to let them know what's happening here. And then we have a lot of very ambitious people who want to start businesses, but they maybe don't know the best way to go about it. They don't know how to access funding. They might not know how to get the right certifications. We want to provide the education to help them have the strongest start that they can and get access to the resources to help them move on to the next level. And that brings me to, I want to say that it's my baby, but it's not, because I thought of it, and then I had some amazing conversations with some people who have come alongside us to partner with us, and that has given birth to what will be launching in July as the Greater Sandhills Chamber Academy. And what that is, we are going to be having weekly training programs, and those weekly trainings are going to be broken up into 4 areas. We're going to be focused on building business capacity building. And so we're going to be partnering with organizations like SBTDC and SEED and other local agencies to connect people who are either already in business or they're looking to get into business, but they need direction on what's available locally. And so this is an idea that was born from the Building Business Rally that PwC has been doing for a number of years. And PwC started the Building Business Rally because what they found is there are large organizations here that have contracts. They have funds that they want to spend locally, and the businesses here either were not bidding on them or they weren't submitting their information properly, but there was money that could be spent locally that wasn't being spent in the county. And so they put together the Building Business Rally, which is like a reverse vendor show. So you'd have businesses with money to spend that would come and say, hey, we have these contracts available. This is what you need to do in order to get it. Well, the committee found that people would show up and still wouldn't have the things in place within their organization to be able to take advantage of that. And so they're looking for partners to help them connect with the business community. And so they have a committee that's already in place that we're going to be working alongside to present business capacity training so that our businesses that are already in place will be positioned to take advantage of bids and opportunities that are already available. We're also partnering with trainers to offer federal contracts and federal certification training, and we'll be doing that once per month through the academy. We're also going to be doing an entrepreneur's toolkit classes. going through everything step-by-step: finances, marketing, business development, concept development, customer, defining your customer base, everything that you would need to put together a solid business. And we'll be doing that once per month. And we already have a roster of trainers that will be presenting all of these sessions. And we will, once per month, have a small business clinic where entrepreneurs can come in and they can sit. We'll do an Ask the Expert forum. So we can have a social media expert that will be there 1 month, and if that's an area that your business is challenged in, you can come in and ask the expert. And we will have consultants that can come in, financial consultants that can come in and give advice. And we will do that once per month. And the best part about this is that one of our partners will be gifting us an e-learning platform, so that everything that we will be training on will then be available to the entire community. So if somebody wasn't able to come to one of the training events, they can access the Greater Sandhills Chamber Academy through the e-learning platform and be able to go through all of the training that will be there. As any chamber, we will also be doing events. We will be doing 2 kinds of events. We'll have recurring events, our business at breakfast, our power lunch, and cocktails and connections, which are all networking events, and they offer our business community the opportunity to learn about what's happening in the area, things that will impact our ability to live, work, and play in this area, to make connections and meet their next client or potential business partner. We're also going to be presenting a Business of the Month award, and we have a sponsor who was very excited to come alongside us to do that. That was one of the opportunities that I was told nobody was ever going to support, and somebody did. Because for every naysayer and everybody who thinks that this is not serious, there's somebody else who sees the vision and wants an opportunity to connect with businesses in this area. And those are the people that we are determined to find and to connect with each other. We'll be having couch conversations with business owners so that we can always know what the business community wants. We are not going to sit in our office and assume that we know what's best for business. We're going to have a session called Couch Conversations where business owners can come in and talk to us. And of course, the Chamber Academy that I just mentioned in detail. Our annual events or signature events, we'll of course be having our annual awards ceremony, which we will probably do in the spring of next year. We'll do a Spring Forward Luncheon and Business Expo. And we will also do a Youngpreneurs Expo. So we want, as part of the Academy, to not only train people who are ready to go into business now, but also people like my 7-year-olds who have already decided that they don't want to work for anybody because mommy works too hard, and they have no intention of spending that many hours at work. So they want to know, how do you start a business? And I met a young lady who has a 5-year-old who already wants to start a YouTube channel. And so she's putting things together for her 5-year-old who has already decided she wants to be a media personality. And so we want to get all of our junior entrepreneurs. We want to put together a junior chamber for them with a set of business training programs for them, and then once per year have a junior expo just for our young business owners. We want to do a golf tournament and a holiday bazaar, and of course, have a barbecue and barbecue. In the long term, we want to have a small business accelerator. So this is going to be building out from the Chamber Academy. We want to eventually own a facility where we can offer co-working spaces, but also a comprehensive incubator program for new businesses. Again, giving them the resources that they need to have a solid start when they launch their business. We want to launch a military affairs program. There are other military affairs programs that are available. However, we don't want to replicate what a typical military affairs program would look like. So right now we're having conversations with a variety of stakeholders, and the goal is to identify where the gaps are and then design a program that will fill those gaps. And so we have held off on launching a military affairs program until we're sure what the needs are, what's missing. As Colonel Pence just went through, there's a lot that's already available. He made the comment that this community is the most supported military community. And so what we don't want to do is something that somebody is already doing and possibly able to do better than we could. So we're taking the time to have the conversations, to find the gaps, and then design a program that will actually have an impact. And of course, we want to launch our junior chamber program next year, which I've mentioned before. So how can you support the chamber? We're looking for minds. We're looking for people who have ideas, who maybe you want to just come in and have a conversation with us. You had an idea, you think that there's something that's great, something that's missing. We want to hear those ideas. We are also looking for people who want to join our board, who want to work alongside us, people who want to do the legwork, because there is a lot of legwork to be done. We are looking for financial support. We are looking for members. We're looking for sponsors and donors. We're looking for people who just want to go around and pass out business cards and say, you know, we have a chamber and they're doing really great things. You should join the chamber. We're looking for partners, because there are a lot of things that we want to do, and we're a small team. I'm currently an army of one alongside the board, so we are looking for partners to work alongside us, and that means volunteering time. And so if you have a couple of hours and you want to stop by and say, hey, I can make some phone calls for you, or do you have an organization that you haven't been able to reach? I can help you with follow-up. That's the kind of support that we need. And I just want to say a big thank you to the people who have already given of their time and their minds and their finances to help us to get forward. This is our current board of directors, and they are an amazing and committed group of people who, when I say do the legwork, I mean do the legwork. I sent out a message and said, can anybody help me with phone calls this week? And one person replied, I can't help you with phone calls, but then they BCC'd me on about 22 emails. So they are an amazing, amazing group of people, and we're very excited to see where this chamber is gonna go. So if you have any questions, I am open.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and all of the hard work that I know you guys are putting in daily for our chamber and our business community. We're going to thrive because of the work that you guys are putting in. So I'd like to open it up to our board for any questions, comments? No? Alderwoman Thompson.
The only thing I wanted to say, can you just give the address so the people that's watching can know where to stop if they want to come by and volunteer?
Thank you. We're at 127 North Main Street. That's next to Kingdom Community. We're right across the street from the professional building.
Thank you.
127 North Main Street.
Website, email, phone number?
Website, greatersandhillschamber.com. You can email us at info@greatersandhillschamber. Phone number 910-748-0030.
Awesome. Any other questions? Thank you so much, Ms. Kerr. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got about 15 minutes, so we will move on to agenda item C, the yard of the month, something I am super excited to see come back. This is going to help instill so much pride of ownership in our community. So Alderman Palacio.
Correction.
Sorry.
Thank you. So yard of the month, if you don't know, it's those yards are called out and honored basically for their ability to maintain their property, them taking pride in ownership of their property. And so we have the yard of the month. Of course, that was started back up when we started the appearance committee a couple months ago. We have several of the committee here today. We have former Alderwoman Frederica Sutherland and Vice Chair of the committee, Cynthia Wilt, here today. And I'll have them come up if you guys are okay with that as we present these. The first winner of Yard of the Month for June out of the Spring Lake Subdivision General is James Wright. Is James Wright here today? And it's okay if they weren't able to make it, we're gonna mail these certificates to them. Second, out of Holly Hills, Naomi Moore. Naomi here today? No, that's okay. Thank you anyways, Naomi, if you're watching. She'll be sure to get this certificate. Pat and Barbara Lewis out of Lake Tree. Miss Lewis is here. Thank you, Miss Lewis. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Lewis, come back. Want to make you famous. Thank you. Congratulations. Keep it up.
Please.
Next, out of Deerfield, Lennox and Margaret Joe. Mr. Job is a former appearance committee member as well. Yeah, I think he has questions, but we'll wait till afterwards. And Woodland West, Miss Anne Marie Carrington. Is Miss Carrington here? All right, and those are our winners for June Yard of the Month. Thank you, committee members.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And thank you to the community members that, love their yard so much. I actually see people who take care of my yard in the building, and I just want to commend them because they keep my yard together. So we will continue on with agenda item D, a proclamation for Miss Ruthie Townsend. And I have the privilege of reading this proclamation for Miss Ruthie.
It's above.
That's Small City.
Mayor Anthony.
I'm looking for So I'm gonna take my cue from our very inventive alderman. Turn the mic around, I think this is really cool. Thank you so look who's here. So it is my honor and privilege to present this proclamation and declare today Ruthie Townsend Day. Whereas Ruthie was born in Troy, North Carolina. She's lived in Spring Lake for over 50 years, and whereas her husband, Hubert Townsend, was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, she was an active military wife and served as the leader of the family readiness group during her husband's time in service, and she was always giving back. Whereas her husband has a brick laid in his honor at the VA Memorial here in Spring Lake. And whereas Ruthie has 2 children, Francis, her daughter in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and George, her son from Spring Lake, North Carolina. She has 4 grandchildren, 12 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren. That's something to be proud of in itself. And whereas she was crowned the first annual over 80 queen at the Spring Lake Senior Center, and during her reign, she continues to promote health, friendship, and caring for her fellow seniors. And whereas Ruthie has a zest for life that is second to none and is an inspiration to all of our friends and family. And whereas on her special day, we would like to honor and thank Miss Ruthie Townsend for her commitment to the advancement to her community. Now, therefore, I, Kia Anthony, Mayor of the town of Spring Lake, do hereby proclaim June 12, 2022 as Ruthie Townsend Day in Spring Lake and urge all citizens to join me in extending this sincere congratulations on this important day. Thank you so much.
Appreciate this.
Would you like to have a few words?
Would
you like to have a few words? A few words? Would you like to say a few words?
I just wanted to thank everybody and all my friends that I've made at the center. And we have a good time over there. If anybody would like to join, we would be glad to have them. And I just turned 90 Sunday. And I'm expecting my 4th great-great-grandbaby in August.
That is such an honor and a privilege to be able to share and honor our seniors in our town. So we will move on to agenda item E, and we will have Miss Chris Shara. I always say it wrong, I'm so sorry. For our first annual Spring Lake Senior Center Over 80 King and Queen. This Rosie just walked.
Oh, she looks like a queen. She had prior engagements, I think. Yeah. She's extremely tired. First off, thank everybody. Thank you for letting me come back again and talk about the seniors. Thank you very much. So I'll make this really quick. But yes, we had our first ever over 80 luncheon at the Spring Lake Senior Center, which is located just across the street here from the town hall. In April 6th, and it was to pay tribute to the members that are over 80. So we had 15 ladies that are over the age of 80 that are members of the senior center, and we had 5 gentlemen. And out of the 15 ladies, 2 of them are actually 90, one being Ruthie, and out of the 5 gentlemen, we have 2 that are 90. So we had a luncheon. We had Denise Payton, or Miss Ferguson. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with her. She's in the Fayetteville State Choral Director, I believe. I got that right. She came and we had some entertainment. We had lunch, and then they voted. So they were voted in by their peers and their fellow seniors. So Ruthie was voted as the queen, and then we had our king, which this is his crown, and unfortunately he is not here today. But Elton King. Which I'm sure many people are familiar with. His family has been in Spring Lake for a long, long time. He was voted as the king, and he wasn't able to make it today, but he actually turned 89 2 weeks ago, so he's close to 90 himself. But it's just a great and a fun way to give the seniors in Spring Lake something to look forward to. You know, and it just proves that we are living a lot longer than we used to.
Welcome
And-
to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly.
I did
Please
not
remain on the line.
Did not do that. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'll make this short. It just proves that, you know, age is, there's no limit. It just doesn't matter how old you are. Ruthie is still playing left, right, center. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that game, but she is an animal with that. I mean, it's a dice game, cards, and playing pool, and just coming out and socializing. And you can, you know, it's just a great thing to do. So we thought it was great to recognize them. I mean, over 80 is a pretty big accomplishment. So they will reign until April of next year when we have another luncheon, and we will vote in a new king and a new queen. So that's it. So
right.
congratulations to Ruthie and Mr.
The webinar will begin shortly.
Thank you.
Please remain on the line.
Thank you. Chris,
Yes.
got some stuff for you.
Oh. Absolutely, thank you.
And those are the awards for both Miss Ruthie and Mr. King.
Oh, very nice.
So we will take a very brief recess for the next 4 minutes, and we will move into our budget hearing.
This is Cindy Aiken. We have Auditor Wood, this virtual. Secretary Marshall, are you there? Call her absent. Secretary Penny is virtual. He's here. Mr. Burns is here. Thank you. Mr. Burns is virtual. Mr. Butler. And we'll call Mr. Butler absent. Ms. Harvey, make sure we can hear you.
I'm here.
Thank you. And Ms. Hoffman, we see you, virtual. Mr. Philneck absent, and Treasurer Falwell. In the room here in Dogwood, we have Sharon Edmondson, Debbie Tomasco, Susan McCullen, Mark Baker, Victoria Bledsoe, myself, Cindy Aiken, and on site for staff is Finance Officer David Irwin. Quickly just say for anyone who wishes to make comments, please wait to be formally recognized by the chair, or by Sharon Edmondson will assist with that. If you're going to speak, they'll need you to state your name and address. Your comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments must be related just to the matters of the topic of this hearing, which is the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget. And this is not a forum for asking questions and receiving answers or back and forth. However, the chair could request staff follow up with a speaker at a later time, or at the chair's prerogative if questions need to be answered immediately, that could happen. But this is designed as a public hearing to hear and accept comments from the public. If you need to email your comments to us, we will accept them through 7 p.m. tomorrow, and that would be to, 5 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, June 14th, at slgfd@nctreasure.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. So, this is Sharon Edmondson. I will call the public hearing we're under for Spring Lake for 2022-2023 budget is now open. And I will turn the meeting over to David Irwin, the Finance Officer, to present the budget.
Unmuted.
One second.
The public is saying live on YouTube, they cannot hear them. I'm getting texts.
The public on YouTube is saying they can't hear. But now that we're unmuted, maybe somebody in the public can let us know if you're hearing it now. Well, I'm gonna be talking. Well, we'll get started, and hopefully the sound will come up. My name's David Irwin. I'm with the Local Government Commission, a staff person. We're here to have a public hearing. Good evening, commission members and aldermen of Spring Lake. I'm going to make some brief comments about the 2023 budget, and then we'll have time for public comments. The proposed budget for Spring Lake, all funds, totals $12.9 million. The largest component of that is the general fund budget at $7.7 million, followed by the water sewer budget of $4.1 million. The budget reflects the desire to maintain cost-effective and quality services to customers and citizens of the municipality. There is no property tax increase in the budget. In fact, there's a new business item that'll go further into this, but there will be a 5-cent property tax decrease from 70 to 65 cents. Concurrent with that, there's going to be a 5-cent recreation district tax that'll be imposed as the Spring Lake joins the Cumberland-Fayetteville Recreation Department. I'll let Mr. Durham's going to present that later in the agenda, and so I'll just leave it at that for now. But there will be the tax lowering, and then the net effect of that for citizens will be no impact in terms of total tax. And the water sewer utility fund, there is an increase.
a 14% increase in water rates and a 5% increase in sewer rates. The water rate increase was necessitated due to a 16% rate increase by the town's primary water source, which is Fayetteville PWC, Public Works Commission. And now Spring Lake does not get all its water from Fayetteville, so that's why our increase is not 16%. But the 14% increase is a blended component of the increase imposed by PWC and the town's desire to still follow the rate model that was created back in 2020 by the engineering firm of McConnell and Associates. Those rates were due to increase over time in order to make infrastructure upgrades and to keep pace with inflation. There are no sanitation or stormwater fee changes at this time. Although in stormwater, there is a desire to look at those fees in the near future. The 2023 budget contains no staff furloughs as we had in the current year, 2022. In fact, there's a recommended 3% cost of living adjustment for staff included in the proposed budget. The town has made good progress in maintaining budgetary discipline for the year and continues to replenish the fund balance reserves in the general fund. There was one question I had in the office about there's a large non-departmental expenditure in the general fund of just over $1 million. $250,000 of that is the fund balance replenishment that is budgeted. $152,000 is the cost of living adjustment that is put in that department to be spread to all divisions upon approval. And the largest component is the $509,000, which is in keeping with the sales tax agreement with Cumberland County. Those are my comments on the budget. At this time, we'll have the time for the public to make comments.
David, do you have anyone there signed up to speak?
On the budget,
Yes, we do. We did have one person sign up. Did you submit the email?
No, she sent me.
That's just for regular public comments. That's not for the budget comments.
Pertaining to this, but normally you open it up to the public to have a comment because it is the town's budget.
It was open to the public, but you had to submit an email.
You have to submit an email?
Yes, ma'am.
Normally you don't have to submit an email, it's the public's business.
well, the commission is opening up to the public
Oh,
now.
okay, thank you.
So if you'd like to speak, you've got
Thank you.
3 minutes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. To the commission, Ms. Woods, Ms. Fernwell, and the rest of them, as a taxpayer for 42 years, I am very saddened about the finances of the town of Spring Lake. 2016 brought it to you all's attention, as well as 2019. But my concern is, they talked about the water and the sewage and the quality of service of the town. And we're talking about increases of monies. Is that money's going back to the citizens? We did have a raise for our water bill, and it does depend on the tiers, but with the monies that has been spent or they're still looking for, that does affect the citizenry. As Mr. Farwell has stated, with the vehicles as well as the water continues to go up, it affects the citizens. It affects me. So I am concerned about the budget and the water bills, because in 2021 through 2022, and it is the tiers, the water, I know it's a flat rate, and it begins at the 3,000 gallons. The water was $4.45. Then in 2021, it was $3.25 flat rate, starting at 3,000 gallons, and it goes up into the different tiers. I won't go over all that. It went up again In 21-22, 445, still depending on the tiers of the gallons that you use. Once you go over 3,000 to 6,000, it goes up to 6. Looking at this budget year, the proposed budget of 22-23, they're proposing that our citizens pay additional 14%, as well as the sewage of 5%. I oppose that. I stand on the behalf of the citizens of this great town of Spring Lake that we oppose that. The water and sewage plant for the infrastructure has needed work. And I just stand because I don't think the citizen water bill should continue to go up. And I think we should look at other avenues in this situation. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for finding what you found in this great town of Spring Lake when it has to do with misuse of funds. Brought it to you all's attention, two people, and I'm glad that we're moving forward on this. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Could you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Frederica Sutherland, 1009 Lisa Circle, Spring Lake, North Carolina, resident of 43 years, own properties.
Thank you.
Well done.
Is there anyone else to speak for public comments? Cheryl?
Person online, Ms. Rose. We have Andrika Rose that had signed up to make a comment. Is that person there in town hall?
I'm here, but I
Or
don't want to speak right now. I don't.
She's here but declines to speak right now.
I did need to say something.
all right. Is there anyone else online or in town hall that wishes to comment on the budget?
Is there anybody who speaks?
Yes, it's open to the public. If anyone wants to speak, now is the time.
State your name and address.
My name is Lennox Joe. I live at 3207 Red Fox Road. And I'm highly concerned about the water going up. Like you said, 14% for the water increase, and then 5% for the sewer. And it's been continuing to go up over the years. And I'm highly concerned because my bill for this month was, I think, 154. And I know I've got a sprinkler system, so I'm gonna pay what I use, but if it go up to 14% more, it's gonna be terrible. So I'd be glad if something could be done, because I've been living there since 1991. And one thing I can say, it has gone up over the years, terrible. And it's my home, I live right there, I ain't going nowhere, but I can do with some help. We can do with some help. So sure appreciate if they can look into this matter and help us. Because, you know, I keep a nice yard and so on. Like I say, I got a sprinkler and I'm gonna pay for what I use. But this year is kind of high. So if you can get some help, I sure do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else?
We don't have anyone else that's saying they want to speak.
You can deem the public hearing closed, Sharon, if you like.
Thank you. So we have no further questions or comments that have been submitted in response to the public hearing notice. And therefore, we will declare the public hearing for Spring Lake for the 22-23 proposed budget closed at this time. LDC members, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Speaker.
All of us.
Thank you all board members for taking the extra effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
quick, easily, and painless. Awesome. And thank you, citizens, for your input. Is greatly appreciated. So we will now move back to our public comments. Ms. Sutherland, if you would please come.
Thank you.
And my apologies for
That's okay.
the
It's been a long
shifting.
day. I'm rushing, been at the hospital, need to go back. But anyway, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, board members. I want to thank the Parents Commission as well. I want to thank Ms. Dorothy Brown, who's been on one of our originals since 1999, for selecting the Yard of the Month, as well as Ms. Wilkes, W-I-L-T, and as well as Ms. Sutherland. Because when we go around, we have to carry those signs. We go and look at the yards, as well as we have to talk to the individuals. So when they do that work, it's very appreciative. I served on that board over 16 years ago. That's where I began. So that's why I went back to serve, because our town is very important that we keep the town looking well. Not only the residents, but the businesses and the town streets as well. We have businesses that are no longer occupied, but the grass is growing. There is an ordinance that you all can enforce and look for those businesses. One of them is one that we meet at Pizza Hut. The grass is growing, there's trash all in the back. So we need to look at those as well. Okay, and the signage. I know when we run, we put signs out, but there is an ordinance as well as for the signage. It's signs all over town of Spring Lake now with mattresses they're selling, all kinds of stuff. Those signs shouldn't be out there on the streets. We need to enforce our ordinance that we already have in place. I would ask you all to look at the ordinance, find out, send the letters out. There is a proper procedure. 1, 2, 3. The grass is growing. We have an individual inspection. He needs to go around and look at these trash cans that's out. He needs to look at the grass. We need to enforce the ordinance. We live in this great town of Spring Lake. We sleep here, we shop here. We don't just come here to work and leave. So I like for my town to continue to look well as every the other citizens, their town as well. There is money from the American Release Fund. I think some of that money should be, we supposed to have a public hearing when I was on the board. We've never had a public hearing. I've stated it over and over and over, but that money was allocated for the citizens, and we were supposed to have a public hearing to talk about the monies that the town of Spring Lake received. So that's one, the signs. Oh, we talked about the budget, and thank you very much for your time, and hopefully that we'll sit there and we can do something. We may not be able to make any decisions about spending money. There is money that for each department that's budgeted, but we can take a look at the town and make sure we enforce our ordinance that's already in place. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Odell. Okay, we will now move on to agenda item 8, our public hearing for for the Odell Road development. Mr. Durham.
I will introduce this item, and you have a revised development agreement at your place, and also you have 2 maps of the proposed property. Now, this is a property that was rezoned last year, July 26th. It's conditional use rezoning, and it did involve, I'm not sure if my light's on.
You want to say, yeah, is it on?
I don't think so.
Is it on? I don't think it's not.
Can you all hear him okay?
No.
Okay. Can you check the volume?
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
Can you break him down, please? Thank you.
You have at your place there a revised Odell Road Development Agreement that was prepared by our attorney along with a couple of maps. What you're asked to consider this evening is a resolution adopting this development agreement. Back last year, July 26th, this property, the properties that are involved the rezoning, conditional use rezoning of a tract of land. This included property located on North Odell Road and west of NC 87. And you have a copy of that there. Also, it does involve, the developer is looking at to purchase town-owned property, and having a resolution, having a development agreement is a appropriate way for us to dispose of this property. You will notice that the agreement does have allow for the developer to purchase the property from the town of Spring Lake. The purchase price would be $16,500. This would be also the tax value of the property that's under consideration. And again, this is not about a rezoning, this is about the development agreement. And there is a resolution, which I'll go through that later on after we hold the public hearing. Be glad to respond to any questions.
Do we have any questions from the board? Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. I just have a simple question. Will this go into our general fund?
Yes, it will.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Alderman Lockwood?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Durham, this 16,500, is this, how did this figure come up? Was this practice, anyway, for the size of this land, how did the dollar amount get figured? And
it's generally based upon the tax value of the property. So whenever the last valuation was made, this is the tax value on that piece of property. What? And this is the, again, what the town is doing is you have an individual who would like to purchase the town's property. There are many ways under general statutes for that to occur. But in order to satisfy the ingress and egress requirements from the developer, having the development agreement is the most appropriate way to get that done. So what you're doing is disposing of property.
okay. And this is one of the 19 that the town, one of the 19 properties the town owns?
Yeah, that's a great question. I got a map today. I think it is 19 or so properties that we currently own throughout the city. Okay. And this has been declared surplus.
Thank you.
Alderman Palacios?
Just for clarification for anybody that doesn't know, Mr. Durham, this is the property that was rezoned for a new development last year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. This small piece of property is just, I'm assuming, an ease of access to that property.
Correct. That's why the developer wanted.
Thank you.
Is that another question? Are there any more questions from the board? I now declare the public hearing for, in accordance with section 160. That's the public hearing for the development properties located north of Odell Road and west of NC 87 in the town of Spring Lake, described as parcel real estate identification number 05021262800000, 05021290210000, 05022000780000. We're not done yet. 05022018840000, and last one. 05022227450000. Yes, we got a bunch of them, so we got those, and we declare this hearing to be open. Is there anyone that would like to speak in support of this request? Please come. Please state your name and address.
She need the mic.
Whether they're gonna rebuild or
question one more time, I'm sorry.
I would just like to know what the property is gonna be used for as far as, development. What are they gonna develop there? Is it gonna be for homes or businesses or?
It's a residential subdivision.
It's a subdivision, a new subdivision that's gonna open?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay, I was just wondering, thank you. And also, I was just wondering what they building down there in the big.
We have to stay just for the public hearing, but thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in support of this request? Again, is there anyone who'd like to speak in support of this request? One last time, is there anyone who'd like to speak in support of this request? Okay, we will like to open it up for anyone who'd like to speak against this request. Is there anyone who'd like to speak against this request? Last time, is there anyone who'd like to speak against this request?
No.
You shocked me. If there is no one to speak in opposition of this, we will close this public hearing. Mr. Durham.
Mayor, there is a ordinance which is a part of this to adopt the Odell Road Development Agreement. This is between the town of Spring Lake, North Carolina, and the Stafford Land Company. And this proposed resolution is consistent with the requirements of 160D of the North Carolina General Statutes. And the article requires that the development agreement be adopted by this ordinance, and this is today's date, which is June 13, 2022. And so I ask that you adopt the amendment as drafted. Excuse me, draft the ordinance as submitted.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance. Alderman Palacios?
So moved.
Is there a second? Alderman Lackman?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ordinance is approved. You guys are rocking out. You guys make me happy when the agenda's long and we still move quickly. Awesome. All right, we will move on to our new business. The Cumberland County Joint Planning Bylaws amendments. Mr. Durham.
You have in your agenda packet a proposed bylaws submitted by the Cumberland County Joint Planning Board and actually submitted by the Cumberland Planning and Inspections Department. The proposed amendments are consistent with the existing changes. Changes have been made in law and also consistent with the interlocal agreement. These are changes that are not significant in nature, but again, it seeks to comply with the general statutes as well as the interlocal agreement that we have with Cumberland County regarding planning and inspections. So this is something that will be adopted by all of the jurisdictions that work with Cumberland County. And you have a copy of that, and I'll be glad to respond to any questions if there are any.
Is there any discussion? Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you. This is not the interlocal agreement that we got. Okay, this is just the joint planning, and we have representation, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I just want to make sure we have continuous representation.
Okay. Thank you. That's Ms. McGraw.
Thank you.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the bylaws from the Joint Planning Commission. Alderwoman Cooper?
I make a motion that we approve these bylaws as presented.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We approve the joint planning bylaws amendments. Awesome, so we will move on to 9B, our resolution 6 by the Board of Aldermen of the Town of Spring Lake agreeing to the Town of Spring Lake being included in the Cumberland County Recreation Service District. Mr. Durham?
As Mr. Irwin has stated, there is, this is a part of our process of entering into the recreation district for Cumberland County, as has other jurisdictions. In order to, once you become a member or admitted into the district, there is a 5 cents tax rate increase that we'll have to pay for recreation. And in order to avoid that increase, the town will be lowering its tax rate from 70 cents to 65 cents. There will be an appropriation made on behalf of the county through general fund for $306,000. This will pay for the recreation services for the town of Spring Lake. As we have talked about before, there are significant benefits that are associated with the town being a part of the Cumberland County Fayetteville Parks and Recreation. It would include some cost savings associated to the economy of scale, buying power of the units, ability to utilize their skills, knowledge, and best practices. As you may be aware of, the town currently does not have a Parks and Recreation director. We do have an interim director at this stage. And also the citizens of Spring Lake would be able to pay the in-town rates at other facilities in Cumberland County that are run by the county and the city. We're anticipating a cost savings that will be associated with our inclusion into the district. And some of the things that are also a part of this is that the vehicles that are currently owned by the town of Spring Lake will retain title by the town of Spring Lake. They actually stay here. There are 3 employees that will be transferring over, actually 4 employees that will be transferring over to the city of Fayetteville, and they will be properly classed there. They also will be, the town would be responsible for renting out facilities to community members if they chose to continue to do that. And also we're looking at enhanced maintenance, enhanced facility access, as well as security. So those are the benefits that are associated with us being a part of this. And this represents the first step in that process. When you indicate this is the resolution that you have before you, indicates that you are giving a notice of intent to be a part of the district. There are 2 other documents that will have to be considered by you. One is the interlocal agreement between the town of Spring Lake, Cumberland County, and the city of Fayetteville. There's also an operational agreement that our attorney is working on with others, which will lay out some of the things that I talked about here, some of the advantages associated with us being a part of this. Those will make up the operational agreement, which will outline duties and responsibilities by both the the city of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, as well as the town of Spring Lake. And again, this is the first step in the process. And one thing I want to note is that as a part of this, the town notified 2,600, is there an exact number, Melissa? There was it's 2,600 plus taxpayers here in town of Spring Lake. Each one of those taxpayers receive a notice regarding a public hearing. It'll be held by Cumberland County on June 20th. That public hearing is about the town being a part of this recreation district. Again, this is the first step, actually second step. There are additional steps that are needed in order for us to complete this process. Be glad to respond to any questions if there are any at this stage.
Alderman Langton?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Drew, when we're talking about this 5 cents decrease and then balancing out, what dollar figure are we looking at based upon that in hard dollars versus 5 cents?
Hard dollars is about $228,000, I believe, that's what 5 cents would generate for the town of Spring Lake.
Okay. And looking over this document, we are just giving up operational control. We're not giving up the deeded properties to our parks and recs.
The personal properties, which would include the vehicles and et cetera, and also the real property, which would include the actual facility, retain ownership here with the town of Spring Lake.
And then one last question for you. As I look this over, I'm not seeing anywhere that Spring Lake would have representation on any of the parks and recreation boards, committees that are here. To me, if we're going to join this, then we need to have a seat at the table. If we don't, then that's something that I
That's,
support.
that's a great point, sir. That's something that we'll check out, and there, maybe by our inclusion in there would give us some type of representation on the committee, Recreation Committee of Fayetteville and Cumberland County. But that's something we'll have to check out.
Thank you very much.
Alderwoman Thompson?
And just for clarification, is this permanent or is it temporary?
It is envisioned to be a permanent move, that if you're doing this, but can it be revoked? I'll have to look to our attorney to, if we can at some point in time decide we don't want to be a part of this.
It's anticipated, as Mr. Durham said, that this is going to be a long-term solution here, but of course, if the town were to determine at some point in time that it was no longer appropriate, then you could take that up and consider that. But what we believe is that this is a smart solution for the town. And just to keep in mind what Mr. Durham said, the town retains ownership of the personal and real property, but you're able to participate in a more comprehensive parks and recreation activity. In fact, one of the things that's really exciting is the city of Fayetteville and Fort Bragg entered into an agreement regarding the joint use and development of a park right on the edge of, it's right actually on Fort Bragg's land, but it's in very close proximity to Spring Lake. So I think that's just another opportunity to get this done. But, you know, nothing's permanent. Our board, by resolution, can make whatever changes are appropriate at a later time, if it's so inclined to do so.
No further questions.
And again, I just want to reiterate that as of right now, all of the municipalities in Cumberland County, except for right now Spring Lake and Hope Mills, are a part of this agreement. So this isn't us, you know, jumping out by ourselves. We're joining with the other municipalities in Cumberland County. Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. So one of the things I do want to say is, you know, I think we are better if we're working together in this area. So I look at this as a plus. So I'm really excited and hope that we are able to move forward with this. And as to Alderman Lackman's question, I actually called a couple of county commissioners over the last couple of days, and they want some of our residents to apply to be on the Parks and Recreation Board. So I would go to the Cumberland County website and see if the application, usually the applications are there, and any board in Cumberland County that has openings, it will tell you where there are openings and what you need to, what skills you need to have. So I would encourage all of our residents to see if there are boards or commissions in Cumberland County that you would be willing to serve on.
And there's one other thing. I know I have been bombarded with requests from our community members with children about not being able to participate in the championships that happen in Cumberland County. We're able to play in the games, but when the championship happens, because we're not a part of this interlocal agreement, our kids aren't able to participate in championships. So if we do go ahead and adopt this resolution, now our kids can participate, and this is something that our interim director is extremely excited about, because he loves to talk about how we're going to beat everyone. They don't want to let us in because we're going to take home all the championships. So this is a really good thing for them. Alderman Palacios?
Yeah, I did want to also say that the agreement with them is a good agreement because operationally, Fayetteville Parks and Rec in Cumberland, they do a good job with their programs. Also, as far as the cost savings, you know, when I was doing the numbers on my personal home, you know, 5 cents represents about $30–40, and it costs the town $60 of my money to run our Parks and Rec department. So the cost savings is there, and if it's a better run program or more openly run program, I'm in favor of that.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion to adopt this resolution. Alderwoman Cooper.
So moved.
Is there a second? Mayor Pro Tem?
A second.
Any discussion? Alderman Lackman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And here's where I just want to go back, that we do have representation at the table, and understood that Ms. Cooper on that, but I just want that in writing, that we do have that, because this municipality does deserve that.
Alderwoman Cooper.
So to that point, if we don't get people from Spring Lake to apply for the boards and commissions in the county, then we don't have representation. Those applications are open to everybody, and it's up to us to get people to apply.
All in favor?
All in favor, aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we approved the resolution for Spring Lake to be included in the Cumberland County Recreation Service District. Awesome. All right, we will move on to 9C, which is the mayor's report. I happen to be the mayor, so I'll start. So, just a few announcements about what's happening. So we are right now in the month of June, and the month of June is significant for several different things. It is Pride Month for the LGBTQ plus community, so we want to recognize the LGBTQ community. June is also Small Cities Month, so each June the National League of Cities celebrates the contributions of small cities, towns, and villages across the country and the residents who live in these communities. And so we have joined in with the National League of Cities to commemorate and celebrate our communities with populations of under 50,000 with the Practical Proclamation. I will not go ahead and read the entire proclamation, but we do have it available if you want to see it. I also want to thank each citizen who came out for Coffee with the Mayor. We held our first Coffee with the Mayor on June 7th. We had a few citizens here. We had the Fayetteville Observer here. They were able to ask their questions, get their questions answered. And so I highly encourage you guys to come out to Coffee with the Mayor. It'll be on the first Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. right here in the boardroom. And hopefully in the future we'll be able to visit other businesses and take coffee with the mayor to them. I'm also looking at some other possibilities of doing an evening, maybe dinner or cocktails or something, probably not cocktails, because, yeah, but something with the mayor in the evening. Cocktails always sound good after 5. So, but something with the mayor in the evening so that we can accommodate work schedules and get maximum participation from the community. We also have Juneteenth celebration coming up, and it is with the saddest regard that I possibly can muster, that our carnival has been adjusted. There was some issues with the host, the carnival ride provider, and he dropped out at the last minute. So we tried as hard as we could to bring in other festival or carnival ride providers, and thankfully that network was able to pull a carnival together, but with such short notice, we weren't able to get the state to come out to do inspections. So Food Truck Wars will still be on. It'll still be in the same location from the 16th through the 19th at 1111 North Bragg Boulevard. So please come out and support the community and celebrate Juneteenth with us. And that is all of the updates that I have. So I will move on to our board, and we will start with you. Alderman Lackman, do you have any updates?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As many of you all know, we do some cleanup around Spring Lake, and we do that on the first Saturday of the month. This past Saturday, this past cleanup that we did, first I'd like to recognize those people that were present and assisted in the cleanup. And would you please stand, Mayor Pro Tem Chadwick, Alderman Palacios, Alderwoman Thompson, Reverend Sutherland, Mrs. Lewis, And did I miss anybody else that's in the room? I'd like to give everyone a hand to help me. So this last cleanup, we went out, we collected 20 bags of trash off the roadways of Spring Lake. I estimate about 20 pounds per bag. Some bags are much heavier than others, some are lighter. But that's approximately 400 pounds of trash that came off the streets of Spring Lake. And when we do this, we partnered with Cumberland County so that this trash does not come off of, it doesn't go against our waste. This is one that the county does absorb. We do have some unrecognized volunteers in the room and within the town that greatly assisted the safety aspect of keeping our folks safe. I gave him my word, so my word still stands.
I didn't give him my word. Chief and the firefighters that helped out at both stations, thank you for your help. Please send the thanks.
So our next cleanup will be July 9th at 8 a.m. It's going to be the same pizza Hut location. We're going to go out and clean up more of the area of Spring Lake. So with that, if you would like to volunteer, you don't have to come out for the whole time. If you could come out and help part of the time, we're identifying the streets and the areas that we can make an impact on, and as well keep our volunteers safe as we're out there cleaning up. So if you'd like to help, July 9th, 8 o'clock. And as we go through here, also tomorrow is Flag Day. I wore my flag tie in honor of Flag Day, but it's also the Army's birthday. And so the Army is the oldest branch of the service. I'm proud to be an Army retiree as we go forward here. The Military and Veterans Advisory Committee worked with the Parks and Recs to ensure that we had a nice Memorial Day event that went off. So our Military Advisory Committee is busy and working and trying to get things going so that we recognize our active duty, our retirees, our former service members, and the family members that are out there. And so in honor of that, would all of our active duty retirees, former military, please stand up? So in honor of the Army's birthday, we're going to sing the Army song. So I got everybody to stand up first. All right.
And please feel free to join in if you know this.
No words, join us. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's right, and the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. And it's high, hey, the Army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. 2, 3, 4. Wherever we go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along.
Never in life did I think we would be up here singing, but I love it.
That's my brief, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Alderman Townsend.
The only thing that I have is just to reiterate the public forum, which is going to be held on June 20th down at 645 at 117th Big Street, I believe that is. And then also, June is also National Men's Health Awareness Month, so it's not all about women all the time. And, I mean, just putting it out there. Men do go through, they have depression. Men do their, suicide and, things not going well at home and stuff like that. So there are, different agencies out there, resources that you can, if you need them, just reach out. You can Google it. They have a bunch here in Cumberland County that you can attend. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Alderwoman Townsend. Alderman Palacios.
I did want to bring some attention to the Appearance Committee. We do have 2 vacancies, so if anybody's interested, we could certainly use input when it comes to, obviously, Yard of the Month like we did tonight, and other issues regarding the appearance of the town, the sustainability here in Spring Lake. That would help. If you feel like you could help, if you feel like you have some insight on how to help the appearance of the town, we could use your help on that committee. And the next meeting is August 10th. I did want to also acknowledge that we had an audit committee meeting last week, and I'm not prepared to brief anyone on that, so we'll do that the next meeting. But there were some recent developments regarding our audit investigation, which was in the news. I'm sure most of you have heard. And so that, along with other things, we'll be updating the public with on the next brief for the audit committee.
Thank you, Alderman Palacios. Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, I want to talk about a great event that you certainly don't want to miss. You definitely want to spread the word. We are going to be having a job fair. So North Carolina Works, which is a proud partner of the American Job Center, will host a job fair at the Spring Lake Recreation Center. This event will be held on June 24th and 25th. So please spread the word, especially if you're looking for a job. You don't want to miss this opportunity to come and potentially get a job. So make sure you spread the word. We do have some points of contact, and I think we're going to get some flyers made for this.
Yes, and it's on our website.
And it's also on our website. But for those that are not tech savvy or don't use the computer, we will have some flyers made especially for you. And so on June 24th, it will take place at 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. It'll be like a mix and mingle type of affair. And then we also have another event coming up. It's a core skills training event, which I'm really excited about this because we're going to partner with FTCC. And so, do you need assistance in preparing for your first job, or do you want to sharpen your skills for the next interview or job fair? Then don't miss this training event. This will be held on June 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at our Spring Lake Recreation Center, 245 Ruth Street. You will receive top quality instruction, resume and cover letter writing, interview etiquette, dressing for success, which I believe in that. Yes, you do. And all about me, youth ages 16 to 24. The point of contact will be Mr. Dwight Butler, Ms. Veronica Rozier, and Mr. Chester Lambert. Guys, please spread the word. This is great for Spring Lake, especially if you need extra resources. Spread the word and tell your neighbor, tell a friend. Thank you.
Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. So first of all, some of you may not know, my full-time job is working with the COVID-19 pandemic, and the numbers are rising, and I wanted to let everyone know that you can still order free rapid tests from the federal government. You can order up to 3 times, and that website is covid.com/test, and I'll see if we can get it on the website, but it's covid.com/test. To order, I think it's 8 tests each time you place your order, and they'll let you order back to back. So if you haven't ordered at all, you can order 3 times. The other thing I'm really excited about, a lot of you know, I've been really beating up the schools about not having summer meals for our children. So they're trying something new, which is called the Summer Meals Bus. And it's gonna have 2 stops. It started today. We're still trying to get the word out, but the first stop will be at the library at 101 Lake Tree Boulevard, I'm sorry. That's from 11 to 11:45, and they must eat the food on the bus. So it's from 11 a.m. to 11:45. Second stop is at our second fire station, which is 2355 Lillington Highway, and that's from 12 to 12:45. So they'll get to meet some of our firefighters, and they'll get to eat. And again, they must eat on the bus, but I'm excited about this. It's my understanding they put it out in the communication they use for the students. So please spread the word, and let's make sure our kids eat this summer.
Awesome. Thank you, aldermen and women, for your updates. I will move on to our manager's report. Mr. Durham.
Thank you so much. As we have proposed in the budget that you are aware of, it includes an end of the furloughs for our employees as well as a 3% cost of living increase. And I think that's significant, and I also want to commend staff for the great job that they've done over the last year, and also helping with the budget for this year. As a part of that, there'll be a return to normal work hours. As we talk about normal work hours, the town before has been off on Friday afternoon. It is important for us to be here for the citizens of the town of Spring Lake 5 days a week. And so we are proposing a change in those hours to go from 8, the change will be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Working with staff as to when that effective date will be, as we try to look at the different schedules that are out there and how we can best accommodate to provide service for our citizens. So that will be a change, and that will change. We'll let you know, as well as the citizens know, as soon as we get the effective date, and also publicize that on our website as well as other public notices. Just wanted staff to wanted you to be aware of that, as well as the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to extend an opportunity for our attorney, if you have any updates. You're not on the agenda, but just because you're here, give you an opportunity.
It's really very nice to be here with you guys again. I was just telling the clerk how pleasant things are these days. You know. This is good.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, I will now entertain a motion for adjournment. I wish you guys could see how this board lights up before it even comes out of my mouth. Alderman Cooper. Is there a second? Alderman Plossin?
Second.
All in favor?